Great. So I'm just going to talk really quickly about MVP presentations before I get into like the content of these MVP presentations. Just a reminder, I'm just going to be randomly putting you all to present on one of the days next week. So if there are any days that you know you won't be able to make it, or if you have a preference for one of the days, let me know as soon as possible. So in terms of MVP presentations, why is that useful for all of us and for you and for me as well? One, a possible question you can get asked either while you're networking or while you're in a job interview is, what are you currently working on? And it is hard to sometimes articulate things that you're in the progress of doing or in the process of doing, especially if you haven't fully fleshed out ideas yet. Being able to talk about these things is pretty valuable, honestly. So it can show people what you're interested in, how you are thinking about getting around your blockers, so on and so forth. I don't know how many of you are around people that know data science or is able to like comprehend like the technical things that you're talking about. I know that when I was going through the program, the only people that I could talk to about data science stuff were my classmates. And so just having, access to that, being able to speak about the stuff they're in progress of doing versus, an already done project that you've already thought about. I feel like it's valuable experience because as you're getting to like the networking phase, these things will come up, and just getting used to talking about this kind of stuff, like just in conversation, it's kind of important and not as not as what's the word, instinctual, not as easy to do as you might think. So for these presentations, quite informal, but I do want you all to at least think and plan what you're going to say. What to prepare and expect. It's going to be 5 minutes plus or minus. I know it's going to be a little bit different for everybody just because we're all going to be at different stages of our project. We maybe not figured out everything yet, but you don't have to prepare a PowerPoint presentation. You can if you want. I'm also okay if you share just like snippets of your Jupyter notebook. That's also fine. But I would like you all to start with your project overall. Doesn't have to be a title. It can be like a couple of phrases on what your project is looking like at this moment. Yeah, no matter where you're at in defining it. Are you currently only at the part thinking like, all right, whatever this project is, I'm going to train like an NLP classification model. Or if you already have a business case but haven't really figured out all like the knots in how you're synthesizing your data and how that will be, maybe just talk about what your business case will be, or maybe like what your ideal product would be at the end of this process. So start with an overview of your project, then talk about where you're currently at. Like, what is the problem that you're literally like at next week working on? Are you in the process of testing different models? Are you in the process of doing EDA? If you're still doing EDA next week, that's still okay. Are you, trying to feature engineer something? Talk about that. As part of that, you can also maybe show and tell some of the EDA that you've seen so far. I think, having you all present to each other, you also can see if people are facing similar problems as you are, or if, someone is working on a problem that you've actually solved maybe 2 days ago, help each other out. I think that's also another like valuable aspect of this, especially because with these like solo projects, it's hard to, I don't know. I feel like working on these solo projects, it's easy to become like isolated in your own project. I do think collaboration is still very important. Yeah, interesting EDA. Are there any hurdles that you have gotten over or are in the process of getting over? I think I've mentioned a couple of these already. What you hope to see as a final product, or maybe you can talk about what your intermediate products are going to look like, your MVP. Or yeah, limitations you're encountering or you foresee. As you can see, I doubt that unless you have a really robust project, I doubt that it's going to take like a full 5 minutes, but I really just want everyone to be able to introduce what they're working on to each other. And hopefully I'll also open up for questions or comments from, each other, so y'all can share ideas. I don't know, support each other. I think that's also very important. So yeah, I'm not gonna be like grading any of this. I will be, maybe basing off some of like our one-on-ones off what I see. But yeah, it's really nothing to, it's not like a big pressure thing, but important to talk about your project while you're in the process of doing it nonetheless. Does anyone have any questions about this? Cool. What some people have used this to do is, for some of you who, I don't know, if let's say you're only at an EDA stage, some people have done just an EDA presentation for this. And what that means is really, if you are, not in your modeling part yet, maybe use this as an opportunity to like get, what's the word? Like take the temperature on like how people are feeling about your graphs, how interesting they are. So I've actually had a couple students use this presentation as like, all right, is this interesting to you all? As like as like an outsider to this project, is this information valuable to you when I tell you about my business problem? You can definitely use that time to also gauge what people will possibly think about your project. Maybe you have a business case that you're unsure if makes sense. Feel free to use each other to during this time to help you figure that out. Because I am one person. Here we have usually 20 people. But yeah, any other thoughts? Sweet. This is not meant to be anything that you're going to stress out over. If you literally just take 5 minutes before you have to present to just think about what you want to tell everybody, that will be enough. If you run out of things to say, I will also ask questions, just so we all have a better understanding of what it is you're doing. Cool. All right. Let me just stop this recording and then we can see if there are any more questions.